Okay, April 9th, 2021. There's the pipe coming out of the fish tank. It's an overflow to protect me from myself. And a valve, and then it goes to the gutter and the duck pond. So I'm going to turn this on. This is part of the recirculating system. So that I don't have to bring new water into the duck pond. I can just use what's in the aquaponic loop. But I've also got a garden hose going up to that gutter up there, so I can turn on garden hose water to introduce new water to the system. Alright, so the water is now going into the duck pond, raising the water level. There's an outlet at the bottom that is plumbed into a 90 and comes up here and goes into the back of this tank. It's just an overflow, so I can push a rod down there to clean it out from time to time, solids. And then so the crap bee water comes in here, hits a deflector, and then all the crap seems to like pile up and like fall out in this section, or a lot of the crap anyway, like the solids, the hay and the goop and I don't know what else. And then eventually the level in this tank will rise commensurate with the level in that tank, and it'll overflow into that pipe. Now once it overflows into that pipe, it'll go out through that fitting, through that pipe. There it is, the big one. Boom, boom. And into the anaerobic digester. And so it sits in there for a while and rots and puts off biogas and cool stuff like that. At the end of the process, the water and sludge will exit through the drain at the bottom of this container, take a 90 and go into the bottom of this barrel. This barrel is full of water, drains out through this pipe right here, and it's full of water, and it's full of orchard netting, and it has an air pump putting bubbles up from the bottom through the netting. The netting acts as biological surface area, and so the anaerobic bacteria do their thing, and then their waste products and the anaerobic bacteria themselves are transported to the aerobic reactor, where they are food for the aerobic bacteria, and then the water, and so that whole process releases it's part of the process of mineralization, which releases the molecules and atoms bound up in complex organic molecules into more plant digestible ones. Okay, and then so it overflows from the aerobic tank down into a loop. That's to stop. I had this all sealed up at one time, and trying to force air through that fitting on the top had a stack on top filled with carbon and too much back pressure, so it was actually starting to siphon through the pipe, which I thwarted by putting a big loop down and up again. And now I don't need it, but I'm not going to mess with the pipe because I already did the pipe. Okay, so then the effluent water from there comes into these two barrels, which I recently redid the outlets for. There's one and there's two, and they look complicated, but they're very simple. And they just discharge water over there. Each barrel's filled with gravel and a cap of sand, a little bit of gravel and mostly sand. It's called a slow sand filter. So the water comes in, and it sits on top of the sand. It has to sift through the bed of sand, and in that process the water is stripped of many of the microbes that live in it, like Ebola, E. coli, and salmonella, and I guess, and other stuff too. So this is one way to kind of clean the water of anything that might cause harm or potential for harm, is through there. Okay, so I recently redid these because I didn't make anything level, so to make water go in one and the other about equally I have to use valves, but really I just stay out here and turn each barrel off as it approaches its height, and eventually I turn off the water coming in too. So not the most sophisticated system. So each of these barrels then, and this is just a weight, nothing special. Okay, each of these barrels though has its fitting plumbed to the other one. Same here. And then it runs through that discharge pipe to my sump tank, which is right down there. That's the pipe. So that's interesting. So that's the overview of my system.